Hey guys, Andrew here. Once again, I am on my own. Just wanted to share my thoughts. This time around emulation becoming streamlined on Apple devices and classic Pokemon titles now being accessible as a result of that. Recently, as I'm sure so many of us are aware, emulators have been essentially greenlit on the Apple Store. And this has effectively opened the floodgates for people to have access to software and games that have been largely inaccessible due to, a myriad of reasons. This could be like the hardware no longer being in production, software no longer being sold, or, maybe the remaining software games are being sold at a price point that many folks just it's not feasible for them to invest in that, right? So this emulator that is currently in the spotlight right now is Delta, and honestly, it may be the only one that's currently available on iOS via the Apple Store. But it's letting its users play games for NES, SNES, Game Boy Color, Nintendo 64, Game Boy Advance, and Nintendo DS, which is a ton, but it's also promising even more consoles to come in the future. So I lack any semblance of self control, and I immediately downloaded this application and just loaded it up with all the classic mainline and, to my knowledge, currently inaccessible Pokemon titles. I'm talking generations one, two, three, four, and five are now just I carry them in my pocket, right? They're a finger tap away, and to my knowledge, I think the bulk of these are unplayable on modern Nintendo hardware, even on the 3DS, right? I think if I'm correct, the 3DS eShop has been taken out of commission, so you're not able to download them on that system anymore. And even if you consider, titles like Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl and Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, which I think are considered to be, Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl are remakes of Generation 4, and I think Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee are reimaginings of Pokemon Yellow. That's still leaving us with like 17 Pokemon games that I can't play on my Switch or if I bought a 3DS for myself, right? Um, so now, now, like if I ever have to go to the bathroom, instead of scrolling on TikTok, RIP, or Twitter, I can just pull on my phone and boot up any of these classic mainline Pokemon games that I've been craving to experience. But I'm not doing that. Originally, and I'll link to the video below, I spoke to Daniel about how excited I was to finally be able to play these games. Um, Honestly, now though, I just can't bring myself to commit to playing through these classic RPG adventures. And I think, if I'm being honest, the reason is because I'm not playing them on my Switch. There's just something about, like I'm not using a controller with buttons, right? I'm smudging up my phone screen, and my phone is doing its best to emulate pressing a button via haptic feedback. Instead of working online with folks to trade to complete my Pokédex, um, I'm just having to settle that I either will not be able to do it, or I'm gonna have to run like cheats or modifications within the ROM to get that job done. Um, and I don't know. It's my personal opinion, in my experience, having played a little bit of each of these titles, is that in their current state on my phone, is that they're just lacking the charm of playing them as you would on intended consoles or hardware, right? And look, I get it. That's the compromise. It's either play them in this form, or you can't play them at all. And honestly, I'm kind of shook that I'm finding myself in the don't play them at all camp. Friends of mine can tell you I've been really yearning for these games to come to Switch, whether that be in the form of like a classic collection or on NSO, whatever, and just have the chance to experience these titles for the first time. I just didn't realize that the come to Switch part was such a make it or break it aspect of that want. Um, you know, all that being said, I think emulation, broadly speaking, is a good thing. I think a wider swath of consumers being able to access and play games that many would consider to be lost, a good thing. I think being able to play these titles easily and portably is a good thing. But I don't think it's for me. Unfortunately, I think I'm going to find myself holding out on these classic Pokemon games to come to Nintendo hardware, whether that be in the form of the classic collection, NSO, or remakes, rather than booting them up on my phone. And honestly, I don't I don't know what to think about that. So what do you think? Do you think I'm a sicko and you would gladly play these games on your phone, or do you share my mindset and will you continue to hold out them to modern consoles, or are you somewhere in the middle? Let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you to those for tuning in to these ramblings. Um, if you can, just do the typical YouTube junk, like, comment on this vid, subscribe to the channel, ring-a-ling that bell, whatever you can do in these early stages of the project. Any interaction can make a huge difference. We appreciate you guys. I'm Andrew Bolkar with Upstairs Downstairs Game Talk, and I will see you next time.